All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Crypto Crow working on some market cipher kind of case study work here. And what I'm basically doing is I'm going to be shooting probably a daily, if not more, video clip, and I'm going to be kind of explaining where my head's at in the trades and why, and kind of what I'm looking at using market cipher indicator. And hopefully I do really well over the next week and I'm able to kind of demonstrate the thought process behind every move I make while I'm trading. Now, keep in mind, I do not study this all day, every day like I should, because I just do not have the time, which is one of the reasons I don't do a lot of technical analysis videos and that sort of thing. But I do dabble and I do have fun with it, and I do love market cipher. And so that's basically what I'm doing here. So right now you'll actually see Bitcoin's price. It's currently dropping a bit. And if we look at the RSI is actually it's around 60, which to me on a potential downtrend, I'm looking at this, we're on a 15-minute chart. So if we're looking at the price action here, we see that the price can go down. Its bottom is around 12,890, okay, for this particular time period. And I think that we can continue to go a bit lower here. And I'm actually looking for an opportunity to long from here. If I look down, if I look at this area here, I can see that the money flow is in the red, which is typically a buy position. You want to buy when the money flows in the red. Ultimately, you're looking to sell at the peaks of the green, which you can see down here. RSI is still a little bit high for me. And if I look at everything on a 4-hour time frame, you can see that we're still kind of moving down, and even on a 4-hour time frame we're trending lower, just like on these short time frames, and we're still not in the red yet on a 4-hour. And typically a lot of traders ultimately trade on the 4-hour chart. Now, what could ultimately happen is, and this is ultimately what I'm looking at, I may set a long trade somewhere around 12,945 or thereabouts, because if we do hit that mark, even if we go a little bit lower, it's my belief in the market we're at right now with the bull market that I could likely pick up a long trade around that period or around that price and go up from there, and then maybe start testing back around the 13,000 area. Now, this is just, you're not even going to see this video till long after it's all happened. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and we're going to see it. But this is what I'm seeing based on all of this. Now, typically I'm also looking for double wave triggers or double trigger waves here. Like with this, we kind of had a little bit of a peak in the wave, and then it started to decline. And then as soon as the dark blue here starts to turn light blue, that's typically a sign that we're having a reversal in the price action, and it's going to go, in this case, up. Here, it's the opposite. We've had a reversal from light blue to the dark blue, and this is where we started to trend down. And it's still pretty wide area in here. So this hasn't even started to transition into a light blue color and start trending up. So I ultimately think that we're going to go a little bit lower. I want to see the RSI a little bit lower. And depending on where the RSI, when this starts to thin out and turn light blue, and this money flow wave starts to kind of tear out and plateau for a potential reversal, that's when I ultimately want to set a long trade from there. So that's what I'm looking for, and I'll keep you updated. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is 10/26/2020. So it's October 26, 2020. And following up with my previous video where I was basically kind of letting you guys know what I was looking at, waiting for, I was looking for an opportunity to long from a particular position. And I think I'm going to go with this. Right now, this is a 15-minute chart. And money flow still isn't in the red yet, and the price could still come down lower. But if I'm looking at the RSI on a 15-minute chart, it's down in the 20s. And typically when it reaches that point, it's likely that we might see some accumulation for a little while, and the price may drop a little bit lower. If that's the case, that's fine. I'm not planning on going with big leverage or anything like that, just ultimately making a trade. And if I'm looking at it on a 4-hour chart, you'll notice that we're basically bouncing off of this moving average, and money flow still looks good. Everything still looks good, but we did get this double wave to the downside, which typically means that there's going to be more. We got a red X, a blood diamond, all sorts of signals basically saying price could go lower. So I'm looking at this based off of, I mean, we could come all the way back down here into this range here, you know, into the 12.2s. And again, I just want to get into a long position because I'm bullish overall. This is me being emotional, which I shouldn't be, but I'm okay with what I'm seeing and going into a long position. We're seeing a further drop here on a 4 hour. So I want to go back here. I might watch this for a little bit longer, and there we go. We're going further. So I'm basically just going to eyeball this and see. I do want to wait for this to drop into the red, if at all possible. So we'll see what happens here. I'm going to eyeball this for a little bit, and then I'll probably just edit. I'll cut this, cut the weight out, and then show you when I actually enter the position. So I'm watching this now. All right. So on a 5-minute chart, we've got two yellow X's, which is basically, it's a pattern for, here, I'll show you.
The yellow X is a bearish indicator and is intended to indicate high volume long covering that is rapidly bought up and sold short. This market condition also presents a possible opportunity for whale traders to exaggerate the condition by manipulating the rate of buyback, indicating a possible bottom or reversal to breakout traders. This in turn supplies local liquidity, then the whale's reverse position, forcing the market lower. The yellow X is most reliable on 1 hour and above time periods.
So there you go there. So now this is a 5-minute chart, so this isn't going to be as reliable. But if we go to a 1 hour, we don't even have any yet. And so right now we're sitting at about 12,877. Price could continue to drop lower. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go against the grain because, quite frankly, I have other things that I want to do. And if it drops a few $100 more, that's fine by me. But I'm going to go ahead and enter this trade. And it's already getting a little bit of a reversal. So I'm going to go ahead and buy. And I'll buy 0.10 and send order. So my order was filled on Prime XBT. So there we go. I guess we'll just see how this plays out. And I will come back when I've exited the position. Now, if you will notice, I entered a trade down here. So this is where I entered. And the last video that I did, I kind of explained what I thought was going to happen. We were right around here. And I said, look, I'm probably going to enter the trade, but I do see the price probably going a little lower and then coming back up. And that's basically exactly what happened. As you see here, the price did drop a bit lower, but I wasn't paying any attention. I was just kind of trusting my feeling and market cipher on what I expected to happen. And sure enough, we did. And we've continued to climb up ever since then. My trade right now, I'm up $70. And I'm going to go ahead and exit that trade because if I'm looking at market cipher, I'm seeing the RSI is very high, and I'm starting to see, I see this double red confirmation for me. We've got the top wave here, the lower wave here, which means there's going to be a correction, and so that's basically what I'm playing off of. We see the same thing here on a 45-minute chart. It's just not as abrupt, and if I'm looking down here, this is a 4-hour chart where on long term, what I'm seeing is overall bullish, but just for the sake of this trade, now I could probably stay in this long, and do pretty well. Realistically, I should just stay in the long. I'm only actually thinking of exiting this long because there's going to be a little bit of a pullback, and yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna exit. I think I'm just gonna stay in the trade because I don't see this dropping all the way back down. And there's no point in me really getting out of it other than to try and show you, hey, this is what I think is gonna happen. I think we're gonna get a little bit of a correction, at which point I can buy back in and long. But if I'm not, this is the thing. This is the trouble with me doing this is I'm not watching this all day. I'm literally looking at this maybe twice a day, and just kind of getting an idea of what's going to happen, and then try to go into a long or a short position. But there aren't a lot of short opportunities for me right now, from what I see, because I think everything is quite bullish, and I see us really ultimately reaching to like 14.5, and it's just a matter of how long it's going to take us to get there. So we've broken above the 13,000 mark, and we're at 13,628. I mean, that's extremely. I mean, it's just doing really well, and I don't really want to exit the position just for the sake of this demo. So I think I'm just going to stay in it, but at least now you've got an update as to where my mind is. Thanks. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it is currently Wednesday. It's Wednesday afternoon at 1:12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I just came down to check and see what's happening. And we got a big drop. But guess what? I did something that I didn't tell anybody about because I did it pretty late. But I actually set a stop loss back here. I set a stop loss at 13,550. And so let me see here if it tells me. Yeah. So sold. So my stop loss actually activated at 13,527. So it took a little extra time, but because I basically didn't want to exit the long I was in. And but I mean, so far every trade I'm making has been at profit. And so I'm good. I'm happy. Now we're looking at the charts now, and the question is, how much lower is this going to go? We're at 13,060 right now. If I'm looking at this on a 4-hour chart, it looks like we bounced off of this 50 moving average and then started to come back up. But then we've got this red X, and the volume, the volume's a little high. Even like on a 4-hour, I mean, people are really trying to exit positions because everybody freaks out, right? And so we'll have a leveling period. If we're looking at it on a 45-minute chart, we still see money flows in the green, and we're not getting this. We don't have this double wave. I typically like to see a double wave, even though down here we only saw this. You see when the light blue turns to dark blue, that's basically a reversal, and we're seeing that here. So on a 45-minute chart, we're already getting a reversal of position or a price action. And so, but typically we see this, it comes down a little bit. Then we get another one where the price drops a little lower. Then we get another reversal, and that's a little more concrete. And then we go and we rise up to newer highs. So it's still questionable as to what action I would likely take right now. But because I am ultimately bullish overall, I'm likely. So on a 15-minute chart, we've got our money flow in the red. This is typically where you want to buy. If I were trying to scalp trades on a low time frame, this might be a buying opportunity, because here we've got a series of waves, but typically I'm looking for one and then a lower one, and I'm just not really seeing anything. I'm not seeing what I really want to see, and it looks like we're still continuing to go down. So I'm going to ride this out a little bit, and then I'll watch this throughout the afternoon, and then when I go to enter a position, I will try to update you immediately. But overall, I am up. Yeah, so I'm up 0.006 Bitcoin, it looks like. So, and I'm only trading with 0.1 Bitcoin at a time. So, my gains could be significantly higher. I mean, if I were trading with a full Bitcoin, I'd have well already paid for market Cipher. So, but on a lower time frame, it's just basically chipping away with a smaller position each time, and then just trying to get the right move. So we'll keep going. See you soon. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's actually only 1:45 p.m. So it's only not even been an hour since my last update, but I'm watching the price action here, and I'm basically seeing this candle turn into kind of a doji candle here, and typically that's a signal for a bit of a reversal. Now we saw one up here as well, and then we just got another one that was just slightly more bullish, and then we continued to peter down. But that was also at the height of this, you know, this peak for the most part, so it was already on its way down from here. So look, and oh yes, I didn't even look at this yet. So on a 15-minute, you can see that, you know, the price is starting to come back up. We got a green light. We've got the doubled wave pattern up here. We've got a smaller one down here, and I'm going to go ahead and go and buy again. So I'm going to buy here, and that's 0.1 Bitcoin, and I'm going to go ahead and send in the order and just kind of let that ride for a while and see where we end up. And, you know, this will probably be the, you know, the end of this little thing. I just kind of wanted to show you guys what I'm doing with Market Cipher, you know, quick glances, kind of what I'm looking at and what I'm using to judge my decisions on entering and exiting positions. Now, if what'll happen from here, let's say hypothetically this were to come back up and we start coming around the $14,000 mark yet again, then I'll ultimately start setting my stop loss and increasing my stop loss as I rise that up, and just rinse and repeat. I mean, that's ultimately the name of the game. As long as you're increasing your stop loss, you should be good to go. And then once it drops further, you go back long. I mean, in a bull market, this is ultimately what I'm looking at. I'm looking for opportunities to long more than short.